Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Hello. Welcome in. Hold on, I've got another window playing here. Welcome to J is for Justice. My name is Jay. I am your host. If you are new here, please consider subscribing and liking this video. If you like what you see tonight, become a clicker. Just ask one of my wonderful mods. Welcome in, everybody. Hello. Shell, oh my gosh. We have to celebrate Shell's birthday. I meant to play the birthday video yesterday. Signed out before I could. I don't have the birthday video on here. Are you kidding me? Fuck. Now I got to sing happy birthday to Shell because I effed up. So ready? Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear mod boss. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Miss Shell. And many more. You guys probably are like, always have that video handy. Don't ever not have that video handy, J is for Justice, because you can't sing for shit. But it's all good. It's all good in the hood. Welcome in, everyone. Come on in. Hit that like button. Let's get into today's stream. We are going to be going over the entire letter from Erik Menendez. Hold up. We're going to be going over the entire letter from Erik and Lyle. The whole filing, rather. Let me fix this. And then we're going to start reading through this. You'd rather have me sing? I don't think so. Misty, are you feeling better? Angie B, I hope you feel better. Yeah, it was beautiful, my arse. Everybody wish Shell a very happy birthday. Hi, Potato. Hello, everybody. So yesterday, I got this whole file, this whole exhibit, if you will, from the assistant of Mark Garagos, which was pretty cool. Garagos, whatever. Kendo, Sarah Boone starts tomorrow. I expect to see yo ass. Everybody is, hey, Pussycat. So in the Superior Court of the State of California, Los Angeles County, Erik Menendez, petitioner, and Lyle Menendez, petitioner, on habeas corpus. And these are the exhibits in support of the petition for a writ of habeas corpus. Oh, Eagle 8. Everybody take a drink. JB, we need to stand down. I did too, Pine. You know I did. You know I did. I heard the media asking her for the exhibits, and she's like, oh, just text me. So I texted her, and she texted me the exhibits. Sometimes you just got to be a go-getter like that, Pine, right? What's up, Cricket? So tomorrow morning, we will be live with opening statements in the Sarah Boone trial. We've been anxiously awaiting. Hello, Evelyn. Globalism, good to see you tonight. So the first thing is the letter from Erik Menendez to Andy Cano, which is his cousin. Exhibit A. Pine, it's so funny. She said to text her, and she did. Yeah, YouTube's acting up a little bit. Okay, so here is Erik's letter. Hello, Andy. How are you doing? I hope better than I am. It's been a long time since we've been in touch. Too long. I wish we could have seen each other during Thanksgiving. We almost did. We were all set to go, and then my parents decided not to at the last minute. Mom said the flights were too expensive. She said we could wait till Christmas. But now they've decided that I'm playing the Fiesta Bowl and that it is not worth it just to fly out for a few days. I was all excited to see you and some high school buddies, but I'll have to wait a little, I guess. Mom and Dad had a company party here, and Dad hired people to decorate the whole house and bought a whole tree that they brought down from Santa Barbara. Actually, they had to bring 3 since Mom didn't like the way the first 2 looked. They were pissed. Can you imagine these mofos bringing a whole tree? And she's like, I don't like that one. Go get another one. They also decorated the tree. Where's the Christmas spirit in that? I remember when Lyle and I used to decorate it. Times change, huh? At least I got to put up my own stocking. And one for Rudy and Velvet, who are fine, by the way. Mom isn't doing too good. It's like she's here physically, but mentally, she's just like gone. If you know what I mean. She freaks out over nothing. I feel bad for her. I don't know why she puts up with Dad's shit. At times I wish I could talk to her about things, someday. Especially Dad and I. But the way she worships him and tells him everything, I'm so afraid she'll tell him whatever I say. I just can't risk it. Lyle got in a huge fight with her over why we couldn't spend Christmas with the rest of the family. And Mom freaked out and said if he wanted to go, he could go alone. I just don't know why she wants to hurt him like that. Lyle wanted to stay, but Dad wouldn't let him. So now I'm stuck here alone. I've been trying to avoid Dad. It's still happening, Andy, but it's worse for me now. I can't explain it. He's so overweight that I can't stand to see him. I never know when it's going to happen, and it's driving me crazy. Every night I stay up thinking he might come in. I need to put it out of my mind. I know what you said before, but I'm afraid. You just don't know Dad like I do. He's crazy. He's warned me 100 times about telling anyone, especially Lyle. Am I a serious wimpus? I don't know. I don't know I'll make it through this. I can't handle it, Andy. I need to stop thinking about it. Anyway, I hope you're doing good. How's your new girlfriend, Allison? She sounds pretty great. When do I get to meet her? I can see why you don't want to leave Puerto Rico, ha ha. I hear you're playing a lot of soccer. That's great. I love soccer. So I'm going to stop there. I want to see what you guys think so far. They just wanted family traditions. Yeah, he's like, at least I got to hang my own stocking. Must be nice to have that much money. But is it really? Is it really that nice, though? You know what I mean? I agree, Cricket. Family traditions don't have a price. And this letter was written 8 months before the murders. Hey, Sherry. Good to see you. Hey, Bams. So many men of wealth and social stature got away with causing so much pain. Yeah, I'm shocked. We're going to get into a few videos, too, about Roy Rosello, which is the other piece of evidence that is the cause of them re-looking at this case after so long, re-examining this case after this filing. And it talks about Roy Rosello in this as well. It makes me sad that Andy has passed. Yeah, that is what breaks my heart, too. Yep, more money, more problems. Mo money, mo problems, no joke. No joke. That did not age well with the didster. The letter, it's a good question, Pine. So the letter was found in the attic like years and years later. Andy passed away. I don't remember what year. I think it was in the 90s. And I believe his mother found this in a box. Andy testified in the first trial. Yes. But his mother happened to find it. Andy kept it. Isn't that crazy? So like Robert Rand, the author, said in '05, they thought that they had no choice, no chance whatsoever after this. And they just wanted a normal family, you know? All right, so let's get to the page 3. I love soccer. Too bad I had to quit. How many tap-ups can you do? Erik loved soccer, but he wasn't allowed to play it. I'm glad to see that school's easy for you. Sounds a little too easy, though. Are you learning? Next year's the important year. 11th grade transcripts are what colleges look at. I'm doing okay so far with school. My tennis gets in the way some, but next year is an important year. I think I'll I think I'll do well in tennis. Mom and dad will ease. Oh, I think if I do well on tennis, mom and dad will ease off some just in time for me to start college at Brown or Berkeley. And we found out later that he was accepted to a college. I don't know if it was Berkeley. Well, maybe it was Berkeley. But Jose told him he was not going to be able to live in the dorms. So he was like, no dorm life for you. You're going to still be living here where I can come into your room and allegedly do what I want to do. Anyway, I'm playing great. We really like our new coach, Mark. He beat Lyle 6-0, 6-0 the first set they played. It was so bad. Lyle even had to laugh. Well, I'm going to go, buddy. It's getting late and I don't feel well. Keep in touch. Hopefully, I will see you soon. Until then, God bless you and Merry Christmas. For the Christmases to be, he drew a Christmas tree. For the Christmases to come, he drew a snowman, and it has the E on its hat. I miss you. Love, E. He just wanted to spend Christmas with his cousins and aunts and uncles and everything else. Oh, I know their dad was a demon. So he wrote this in the... I'm confused when he wrote this. He's talking about 11th grade transcripts, but then they said this was 8 months before the murders. But Erik had already graduated. So I'm confused. There's no date on this. So how did they date this? I don't understand. Do you guys get what I'm saying? If he was like, oh, next year, or is he talking about Andy being an 11th grader next year? Oh, never mind. Unyo that. He was talking about Andy being in 11th grade. Anyways, I know. They had him playing in the Orange Bowl or whatever it was. The Rose Bowl. Which you think that, you know, a kid would be like, yay. And he wasn't. Maybe the postmark. Yeah. Isn't that wild, though? They found it in the attic years and years and years later. Okay, so here is the next page. This is just their... I do not have money to hire counsel or fund a habeas investigation. There is usually between $200 and $300 in my inmate account. This is Erik Menendez. I like his name, Erik Galen. I am one of the defendants in People versus Menendez. I was convicted of 2 counts of murder after a trial in 95. Because I was indigent, I was represented by appointed counsel at trial. When I appealed my convictions, the Court of Appeal appointed counsel to represent me. I am still indigent. I do not have money to hire counsel. And, that says a lot about Mark Garagos. He still is on their side, representing the brothers, and they don't pay him. Andy Cano was my cousin and was one of my closest family members and friends growing up. Andy was the son of my Aunt Marta Cano. Andy died some years ago, around 2003. So this will give the background right here. You were 4 years old when this was going on, Porsche. Hi, Sin. Good to see ya. In 2015, I first heard something about a letter I'd written to Andy in December of 1988. I heard about a Barbara Walters special in 2015 or 16 covering our case. I did not see the special, but heard that she talked about a letter I had written to Andy, which had been offered into evidence at the trial but was excluded. Hi, Rachel. I did not recall all the evidence that was either admitted or ruled inadmissible at my 2 trials.
A Ouija board down your pants. You're going to pull that out.
Thank you for becoming a member. Nope, not today. Thank you, GB Folk, for gifting a membership. Nope, not today. Make sure you give a thank you to GB for that membership. Thank you so much. I did not recall all the evidence that was either admitted or ruled inadmissible at my 2 trials. But my understanding was that Miss Walters said the letter had been offered and excluded at trial. It never occurred to me that the letter could be considered new evidence. So the letter was there in the very beginning. They just excluded it. Sometime between February and April of 2018, my brother Lyle and I were put in the same prison. Lyle advised me that he had been told his trial lawyer from the first trial, Jill Lansing, she had no recollection of any such letter being offered at trial and excluded. He then said that he contacted his appointed appellate lawyer, Cliff Gardner, who said he knew nothing about such a letter and would try to contact Lyle's trial lawyers from the second trial to see if they recalled such a letter. Wow. Lyle later told me that Mr. Gardner had contacted Lyle's trial counsel from the second trial, who also had no recollection of seeing such a letter. Lyle said that Mr. Gardner advised him to try and get a copy of the letter. So they're chasing down this letter from 1988. Lyle asked journalist Robert Rand, who has covered the case for many years and knew my Aunt Marta, to see if he could get a copy of the letter. I was told later that Aunt Marta gave Mr. Rand a letter Andy had received from me, and Mr. Rand gave a copy of this letter to Mr. Gardner. Holy shit. So this is a huge role for Mr. Rand. Mr. Rand is that lovely man I told you guys about yesterday. He wrote an amazing book on the Menendez brothers. He's known them since they were arrested. He was an author, or he's an author. He was a writer for the Miami Herald and Playboy at the time. So he interviewed, obviously, Aunt Marta, and Aunt Marta gave Mr. Rand this letter. And Mr. Rand, for the grace of God, still had it, whatever, and gave it to Mr. Gardner, the lawyer. Crazy. I mean, this is like the key to their freedom being like up in the air here. Like, we got to find this key. Crazy. Lyle told me after seeing the letter, Mr. Gardner said he did not recall having seen it before, but to make sure the evidence was indeed new evidence and had not been offered and excluded at trial, as Miss Walters had said, Mr. Gardner advised Lyle to review the transcripts from both trials to see if this evidence had actually been offered. So they had to go back and read both trial transcripts. But this is a problem because neither Lyle nor Erik had copies of the transcripts. But sometime in 2020, Court TV posted on its website transcripts of the second trial and a video of the first. It turns out that Miss Walters made a mistake, and my letter to Andy had not been offered and excluded at either trial. So they had to wait until 2020 when Court TV finally posted these transcripts and the video. Lyle told me that he had been told Mr. Rand had many audio-taped interviews conducted with witnesses at my trial and that he was in process of transcribing. Lyle said that Gardner told him that generally state habeas petitioners get one shot at habeas relief and that in order to present all potential claims in one petition, we should wait until Mr. Rand had transcribed these interviews. In that way, we could determine if there was any additional new evidence. While waiting for these transcriptions to be completed, I learned that producers of a documentary involving Menudo, a boy band formed in Puerto Rico, had approached Gardner with new information. In November of 2022, I was told that a former member of the band had come forward to say that my father raped him. I have a vague recollection of meeting some of the members of the band when I was a boy and when my family lived in New Jersey. Hey, Gypsy, welcome in. I am now 52 years old. My senior year of high school was the 1988-89 school year. I would have entered college in the fall of 89. I declare under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct. Executed this 13th day of March, 2023 in San Diego, California, Erik Menendez. Exhibit C, Robert Rand. Oh, this is Robert Rand sending the letter. On April 10th, 2018, this is to Cliff Gardner from Marta. On March 21st, 2018, I was going through paperwork of my son, Andres Cano, who died in January 2003. I discovered the original copy of a letter which I believe Erik Menendez wrote to my son, Andy, in December of 1988. I have turned this letter over to Robert Rand and asked him to hand deliver it to you at your office in Berkeley. And this is from Florida. She moved. She's in Florida and she found this letter. This is crazy. Exhibit D. There you are, Flo. Oh my gosh, we were about to send a search crew out for your ass. Be safe out there. Flo, she's all in airports and shit. Flo, please be safe. We love you. You know we love you, baby. But yesterday we were looking for you. We're like, where the heck is Flo? All right, so then the next one is the declaration of Cliff Gardner. Cliff Gardner is a lawyer, and it says, I am a lawyer licensed to practice in California. Because Lyle Menendez was indigent in September of 96, I was appointed to represent him in an appeal in People versus Menendez. I have not represented Lyle since 2005. At some point in early 2018, I was told about a letter Erik wrote to his cousin Andy, a letter that had been offered into evidence and excluded. I do not recall how I learned about this, although I had read the trial record many years earlier when I represented Lyle on appeal and in subsequent federal habeas proceedings. I did not recall such a letter having been offered and excluded. I contacted Terry Towery, one of Lyle's trial attorneys, and asked if she had ever heard of this letter. She had not. I asked Mr. Menendez to get a copy of the letter if he could. During the course of my representation, I met Robert Rand. Robert Rand is like their hero. A journalist who had covered the two trials. The importance of journalism, y'all. The importance of journalism. In April of 2018, Mr. Rand provided me with a letter he had obtained from Marta Cano, Andy's mother. Copy of that letter is attached to this declaration as attachment 1. Mr. Rand also told me he had numerous tape-recorded interviews in the hundreds, as I recall. Holy. Please do check in, Flo. Let us know how you're doing, lady. Kayla Marie just became a member. Thank you, Kayla.
A Ouija board down your pants. You're going to pull that out.
Welcome to the Clicker Crew. Hundreds of interviews, some with people who were called as witnesses and some with people who were never called from his years of working on the case. And he was having these interviews transcribed to see if there was any additional evidence. After reading the letter from Erik to Andy, I still did not have any recollection of such a letter being offered at trial. But because my memory of the trial record was many years old, I advised Lyle to review the records of the two trials to see if the letter had been offered but excluded. Given the content of the letter, if the evidence had not been offered and excluded, it might qualify as new evidence on which a habeas petition could be based. Assuming the evidence was new, and in light of Mr. Rand's statement that he was having his witness interviews transcribed, I advised Lyle that California courts looked with disfavor upon piecemeal presentation of habeas claims in a series of habeas petitions, and to avoid piecemeal presentation of any future claims which might arise should these transcriptions reveal relevant evidence that had not been presented at trial. It would be best to wait until all the transcriptions were completed before pursuing a round of habeas relief. So he said, wait for all of it. They don't like to see you come in with little bits and pieces. Have it all, right? Kayla, thank you for renewing. Oh, hey, Gypsy. Hey, Mystic Butterfly. Good to see y'all. So this kind of makes me think, like, assuming the evidence. Wait, hold on. Let me read this again. To review the letter, given the content of the letter, if the evidence had not been offered, it might qualify as new evidence. I can't remember what I was going to say about that, but anyways, in November of 2022, I learned that during an interview for a documentary, Roy Rosello, a member of the boy band Menudo, admitted that he had been raped by Jose Menendez. Now that takes me to our little sidebar presentation of this video. I don't know. Can you guys hear it? Let me play a little bit. Do you guys have audio? Let me know. If not, I'm going to have to share it a different way. Did you see the Law and Crime Sidebar episode, Everything Netflix Monsters Got Wrong? No, because I didn't watch Monsters, Snazzy. I couldn't get into it. But there is another documentary that's not being advertised like Monsters was. You can't. There's another documentary released on Netflix that is real. That is literally from their own words. Jose Menendez is the dad. What's that block right there? Do you guys see like a block? Oh, that was just on my end. Never mind. Smoke him if you got him. No, they're not trying to get a new trial, Pale Rider. They're trying to get habeas relief, which means they would just be released like time served type thing. That's in layman's terms. I don't know all of the ins and outs. But we're going to listen to this short clip. You're going to have to pay attention to the captions in the show because it's super short, but he's talking in Spanish. But I will read it.
Tenía 13 años. Ricardo no acostumbraba servir bebidas.
So he's talking about Eguardo is the menudo manager. Okay, so he was like the owner of the band. And then the owner of the band, Eguardo, was working with Jose Menendez to sign the band Menudo to RCA Records, which Jose Menendez was the CEO of RCA. So it starts out saying, they started to talk. They offered me a glass of wine.
Copa de vino. Yo tenía 13 años.
I was 13 years old.
Ricardo no acostumbraba servir bebidas alcohólicas.
Eguardo didn't normally serve alcoholic beverages.
También hay ese punto.
There's that detail too. So that was different. Eguardo, the owner of the band, did not normally serve them alcohol. But when they went to see Jose Menendez, he was offered this expensive glass of wine.
José Menéndez me dijo, toma este vino. Es un vino carísimo.
Jose Menendez told me, drink this wine. It's a very expensive wine, so finish it all.
Y tómate toda la taza. Después que yo me la tomé, yo me comencé a...
After I drank the wine, I started to feel tired and heavy. Sorry, I have to keep stopping this because I get dinged. Yes, Roy Rosello was 13 when he was in Menudo and this was happening.
sentir un cansancio, un peso. Yo no podía más moverme.
I couldn't move anymore.
A partir de ese momento, yo solamente
From that point on, everything looked blurry.
veía cosas como que desenfocadas. Alguien me empujó.
Someone pushed me.
Alguien me cargó.
Someone carried
Alguien
me.
trying to
Someone tried to push me.
me. Y yo caminé un pasillo bien
I walked down a very long hallway.
largo. Y había un cuarto.
There was a room. I got to stop this or I'm going to get copyright faux show.
Yo no podía
I couldn't react.
reaccionar porque eso me estaba
I had no control over my body.
tomando cuenta de mi cuerpo. Me drogaron. Y después de eso, yo amanecí
They drugged me. After that, I woke up in the hotel. 13 years old.
en el hotel. ¿Cómo yo llegué al hotel? Yo no sé.
I have no idea how I got to the hotel.
Pero cuando yo fui al baño, I was bleeding.
But when I went to the bathroom, I was bleeding.
Y yo estuve
I was in terrible pain for a week. Yes, it's like Diddy, drugging and graping.
una semana con un dolor terrible. Con un dolor que no podía
I could barely stand the pain. I couldn't even move. 13 years old.
más. No me podía ni mover. Yo me acuerdo que yo tenía que simular que yo no estaba
I had to pretend I wasn't in pain,
con dolor, pero el dolor estaba tomando cuenta de mi vida.
but the pain was unbearable. These tears are not fake, y'all. This is the other piece of evidence right here, is Roy Rosello. This is the other part of the new evidence. This is what Jose Menendez did to this now man. And Erik has the same stories, except he wasn't drugged. He remembers every moment.
Era un dolor terrible.
I was in terrible pain.
Y sangré muchísimo. Y yo le mostré a Carlos.
I bled a lot. I showed Eguardo.
Mira, Carlos, mi ano se está
Look, Eguardo, my anus is bleeding.
sangrando. Ah,
He said, relax.
tranquilo. Ya luego se te va a
It will heal soon.
sanar. Ya luego tú estarás listo.
You'll be ready again soon. I'm speechless.
Eso fue lo que yo pasé.
That's what I went through. Good Lord Almighty. That's crazy. So, back to this. We have Eguardo is the owner of Menudo. Yeah, be ready again. I know. Hey, Julie. Horrendous. I mean, there's no words, right? So you think about Erik's account of everything that he said his dad did. I don't know if Eguardo is still alive. Let me look. Let me Google that. I'm looking. Eguardo Diaz. Yes. Yes. Whoa! He's being investigated, Misty. Look. There's Eguardo. I heard Eguardo with like a G. Yeah, the parents probably weren't around because they trusted them. Okay, let's read this really fast. Good job, Misty. I didn't even think about looking him up. This is him in 2015 attending a concert. Eguardo Diaz, the founder of the internationally famous Puerto Rican boy band Menudo, is under investigation by the Los Angeles Police Department over allegations that he essayed a former teenage member of the group in the 80s. This is from May 2nd, 2023. Allegations of sexual, verbal, and physical abuse have swirled around Menudo for decades, but the investigation by the LAPD centered around an attack that allegedly occurred at the Biltmore Hotel in LA is the first known criminal investigation surrounding Menudo and its creator by law enforcement. We can confirm a report was taken and it is an ongoing investigation. Due to victim confidentiality, the department is unable to provide further. The investigation stems from allegations made by former Menudo star Roy Rosello, who was part of the teen pop band during its height of its international popularity in the 80s. Rosello had spoken out years earlier about alleged abuse during his time with Menudo, but his account regained new focus as part of the Peacock series Menendez plus Menudo, Boys Betrayed, which looks into the allegations of abuse within the band and the alleged connection to Jose Menendez, the former RCA music executive who was murdered in '89 by his two sons, Lyle and Erik Menendez. Rosello recounts a visit to the Biltmore Hotel during a trip to LA. Menudo was staying at the hotel, and Rosello says he and other teenage members of the band rented a second room for girls who were the same age as they were. Who the hell was letting their teenage girls get in a hotel room? What? Oh my God. Now that's fucking weird. Okay, sorry. I was muted for a second. So the Menendez mom knew of the abuse? Yes, she did. Okay. So Rosello alleges in the series that Diaz slapped another member of the band, then punched him repeatedly when he found out about the girls. Diaz allegedly took Rosello to another room, tied him to the bed, beat him with a wet towel, and raped him. No, he didn't come out then, Lovey. Well, I mean, the boys were crucified for coming out with their abuse. So, no, it was a different time then. You know what I mean? Bams, it's crazy. Bam says you'd be surprised at the POS parents that would sell their kids to people like singers and even wrestlers for one night. He told me, this better be the last time I see you with a woman because you are mine. I am not going to share you with anyone. At the end of the docuseries, Rosello is seen walking into LAPD station on November 8th to file a police report about the alleged attack. And here is Roy Rosello and Robert Rand. He says he was shown a picture. Roy Rosello said, "That's the man here that raped me." He pointed to a picture of the group accompanied by Menendez. That's the pedophile. Roy may have filed criminal charges in LA so far, but he says he was essayed in cities across the U.S. and around the world. Former colleagues at the Miami Herald, Rand and Ying Klain, said they began working together on the Menudo and Menendez story in 2018 when they met at the home of the aunt of the Menendez brothers. Since then, the two have been looking to speak with former members of Menudo to tell their story, including Rosello. Roy was on a mission to get heard, and having an investigation opened after all these years has filled him with pride. And for the first time, hope that it may not be too late to find the justice he so badly seeks. I mean, this goes on and on. Ugh. Diaz was the creator of Menudo, which started in 1977 and grew to worldwide stardom. Dressed in colorful, tight outfits, the teenagers quickly became heartthrobs at sold-out concerts around the world. Take a look at this. We're going to watch an old video of Menudo really quick. Menudo performing 80s. Okay, this is them on Silver Spoons. Do you remember that show, Silver Spoons? Oh my gosh. Here's a telethon. Check this out. I cannot, guys. You can probably hear it now, right? All of this for fame. Do you guys hear it now? This is little Ricky right here in the blue. They look like Power Rangers. I know they're so young. And look how they dress them in their tight little pants. And there's little Ricky right there in the teal, not in the blue. Roy Rosello is right here in the blue. Ricky Martin right here. And you know, Ricky Martin, remember he was accused by his nephew of essaying him? Add to cart. It dates us all. I know look how little Ricky is. Ricky's just a baby. But remember, it was settled behind the scenes between Ricky and his nephew. Like, I literally can't. I can't help but think it's what encouraged them more to take control and to stop what was happening. This is the boy band Menudo. Yep, that's them. Yeah, so Eguardo was abusing them as well. Mm-hmm. Here's another one.
Whenever you need it. No limit against all this love that I feel. Make me fantasy reality by riding with me at the wheel.
Oh my God. I want to see Ricky. Hold on. Thank you, Crime Solver. I never listened to these guys back then. Is Ricky even in this one? I don't see Ricky. Oh God, Joe Jackson or what's his name? Joe is his name Joe. Oprah interviews 13-year-old Ricky. This was 2010.
I want to talk to you because you are the cutest thing I have seen. Now, when you first knew that you were going to be picked to be in this group, what did you do to go home and celebrate?
Well, I first told all my parents, to all my family.
Yes.
And then
Listen, don't purr back there. We got to hear it.
Don't purr back there, Oprah. Oprah, he's 13. He's 13.
All your family.
And then we do a disco party.
You went to a disco party after that. Who has it? Let me see. Now here's a little girl here who's being sort of outdone by everybody because she's little. You want to go get a hug and a kiss too? A big hug and a kiss.
Oh man, how can that be 2010? That looked like the same age. Shell says I'm only 21. How do I remember this group? I guess 2010 maybe was when he was on Oprah. That was probably when he was on Oprah. That had to be an older clip than that had to be like way older. He was probably on there. Yeah, the interview, exactly. That's Roy Rosario in the purple pants. Crazy. Oh my God. All right, you guys, let's get back. But I'm glad to know that that dude, Menudo, is being, Eguardo is being investigated, allegedly, right? Let's get the document back up. Where the hell did it go? I lost our document, y'all. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to get right back to it. All right. That was our little Menudo sidebar. I know Ricky is a cutie, but I did not like the accusations coming from his nephew. So we've got the, okay, here we go. Let's start up here. Exhibit D. We already read that one. got to go past this again. Exhibit E. Exhibit E. How do I rotate this? It wants me to pay, for God's sakes, to rotate it because it's in this viewer thing. Anyways, they've got Menudo signs long-term RCA pact. They've got this old newspaper article from November 23rd, 1983 from the New York Times. Good evening, Newfie. GB, I did too. I did too. I believe the nephew. I didn't like how it was all resolved behind the scenes. The Pope life. So that was November 23rd, 1983 in the New York Times, announcing that Menudo, the Puerto Rican teen pop group that has been called the Hispanic Beatles, has signed a long-term recording contract with RCA Records. RCA declined to specify the size of the deal, but executives said that the contract, which calls for 12 albums in 6 years, excluding potential movie contracts, was comparable to the company's multi-million-dollar agreements with Kenny Rogers and Diana Ross. Broader effort by RCA to cultivate the example, or to cultivate the Spanish language market. Last week, for example, the company announced that it would distribute the Latin music of Areola America, one of the most successful recording companies in Spanish-speaking countries. This one says Menudo signs long-term RCA pact. That's just the bigger article. Terms of Endearment was in the movie theater at this time. You didn't, Bams? You learn something new every day. See how all this stuff connects? Isn't that weird? She's into superstition, black cats and voodoo dolls, sideways scooter Rhonda. This is Roy Rosello. This is his declaration. I was born on May 1st, 1969 in Puerto Rico. In 1983, I joined the Puerto Rican singing group Menudo. Menudo was a boy band formed by Eguardo Diaz in the late 70s. Menudo, I was with the group until 1986. In the fall of 83 or 84, the group was performing in New York. I recall that this was shortly before the time that Eguardo Diaz signed a recording contract with RCA for the group. One evening at the hotel, Mr. Diaz told me that I would be having dinner with Jose Menendez, who was an RCA executive. Diaz said I was going to, quote, do a favor and, quote, do something great for Menudo and for him. I was taken in a limousine to Jose Menendez's house. As I recall, it was in New Jersey. Jose Menendez was in the limousine, as was Eguardo Diaz. After arriving at the Menendez home, I saw one of his boys sitting behind the front door. I was directed to the dining room. Another boy was at the dining room table. Neither of the boys said anything to me. Jose Menendez was there, along with his wife, as was Eguardo Diaz. Jose Menendez offered me a glass of wine at the table and told me it was expensive wine, so I should drink the entire glass. I felt sick after drinking it. Things looked blurry, and I felt like I could not move. I was partially pushed and partially carried down the hallway. I felt like I had no control over my body. Jose took me to a room. He closed the door I could not move my body. He put me into a bed. I felt him take off my pants. And I felt him penetrate me in the ass. I think that I told him I did not want to do this, but he continued to grate me in the anus very hard. I'm going to throw up. I recall being carried back to the limousine. Later, I woke up in the hotel where the group was staying. I was bleeding from the anus. I was in pain for a week. The pain was unbearable. Eguardo Diaz said I would be better soon, and that this was normal. I accused Diaz of selling my body to Jose Menendez. He told me not to mention this to anyone. This was not my only sexual experience with Jose Menendez. I recall a time menudo was performing in New York. I think we were at Radio City Music Hall. Before the show, Eguardo Diaz told me to meet Jose Menendez in the bathroom for oral sex. When I went to the bathroom, fans were already in the audience screaming. I recall Jose Menendez telling me that the fans were screaming because he had made the group famous. Jose Menendez then orally copulated me. Oh my God. And then they would freaking replace these teenagers. When they got too old, they would replace them with new kids. After that show, Eguardo Diaz said he had a last favor to ask. He asked me to go with Jose Menendez to a hotel. I went with Jose Menendez in a limousine to a hotel. It was not the hotel the group was staying at. Yes, this is Roy Rosello, one of the Menudo members. I do not recall the name of the hotel, but I do recall it was old-fashioned. Jose Menendez took me to a room and told me he was going to grate me slowly, so it did not hurt. He put me on a bed, took my pants off, put saliva on my anus, and penetrated me. When he was done graping me, he took me back to my hotel afterwards. He opened the door to the limousine and said goodbye. Their parents were back in Puerto Rico. I'm sure. I declare under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct. And Roy Rosello signed this on April 10th of last year in Natal, Brazil. Ember Burns, Jay, when you first started covering this, I was quick to say, keep them locked up. Knowing now what I didn't know, I feel horrible for saying that. This is insane. Well, don't feel horrible. You didn't know. You didn't know all these details. A lot of us didn't. And I'm sure, coming from Puerto Rico, they probably came from poor families and they were promised the world. And they wanted, to do this for their families and make it, the American dream. Back then, people thought they could trust these people with their kids. I think they felt like they had their kids' best interest in mind. They wanted to make them famous. And hi, Suze. Yeah, I mean, they were ridiculed. They were ridiculed, you guys, back in the day. I need to show you guys another video really quick. Hold on. It's just crazy how this is all connected, Sorry about the barking in advance. Shoot, now I can't remember what I was going to pull up. What were we talking about? This is why parents today are more vigilant. Yes. Well, look at all the Mickey Mouse Club members. Oh, I know, Kendi. I know. Me too. Oh, I know, Ember. Right. A lot of people didn't know about this. I can't remember. I was going to play you guys a video, and now I can't remember the trial and the brothers being treated poorly. Oh, I know what it was. Thank you, Amy. Yes, yes. Here it is. All right, we're going to watch this clip really fast. Hold up. I got to share it so you guys have audio, but this is, the funny Saturday Night Live. I can't stand that show, but this is what they did. This is from 1993. This aired on October 23rd. We are almost, wow. October 23rd, 1993. You see this? These boys were crying, talking about their abuse. This is what was on Saturday Night Live. I mean, we have changed a lot from the 90s.
I think it would be best if Danny and Jose Jr. went to get them.
Went to cry. Men couldn't cry back then either, huh?
I'll allow it.
Yeah, but OJ is different.
Danny and Jose Menendez Jr., you may go to
OJ was a wife beater. We know that. 100% OJ was a wife beater.
the bathroom to get your brothers.
They hope to convince brothers Lyle and Erik to stop crying and return to the courtroom. They stood to inherit the sum of 14. Like, it's not even funny.
After waiting more than 2 hours for Lyle Menendez to return with his brothers Danny and Jose Menendez Jr., Judge Weisberg adjourned the court until Monday. We'll be back then with complete court TV coverage of the...
Yeah, real funny, huh? Isn't that crazy? Victims were not believed or they were blamed. Mm-hmm. Yep, what they were wearing or what they were doing. Hey, Ryan. Oh, they made light of Nicole and Ron. Oh, yeah. That's bad, Cheryl. OJ's fair game, though. OJ, in my eyes, is fair game. All right, let's get back to that document. Okay. This is all their filings, I guess. Their case file. And I'm just glancing. There's a lot of filings. Holy shit. Exhibit H. Did you ever see the clip from Barbara Walters poo-pooing Corey Feldman about the Hollywood? It's full of pedos. It's sickening. No, but I would love to go back and rewatch that, Agent. It's been years. It's been years since I've seen that, and it would be really interesting, I think, to rewatch that stuff because it's so much different now. Joseph Lyle Menendez. This is Lyle's declaration. I am one of the defendants in People versus Menendez. I am convicted of 2 counts of murder in 95. Same thing as Erik's. It says that he is still indigent and there is approximately $50 in his inmate account. Andy Cano was my cousin. Andy was the son of my Aunt Marta. Andy died some years ago, around 2003. In 2015, I first heard about a letter my brother Erik had written to Andy when we were younger. It says the same thing. Miss Walters said this letter was presented by our lawyers at trial, but ruled inadmissible. And then they have, a link. Can't copy it though, dang it. Although I did not recall all the evidence that was admitted or ruled admissible, it never occurred to me that the letter could be new evidence. I gave it no more thought. In early 2018, I was advised that my trial counsel, Jill Lansing, had said she had no recollection of such letter. I contacted Cliff Gardner. We know all of that story. Robert Rand then gave the letter to Cliff Gardner. After seeing the letter, Mr. Gardner explained that he did not recall ever seeing this letter before, but because it had been so long since he reviewed transcripts from the trials, and to make sure the evidence was indeed new and had not in fact been offered and excluded, he advised me to review the transcripts. At that point, I was stymied. I no longer had a copy of the transcripts from either trial. I tried various places to obtain a copy of the transcripts without success. In late 2020, Court TV posted on its website a transcript of the second trial and a video of the first. Because I did not have access to the internet, my wife and other family members reviewed this material, and we concluded that the letter was indeed new evidence and had not been offered and excluded at either trial. Mr. Gardner advised me that Mr. Rand informed him that he was in the process of transcribing hundreds of audio taped interviews he had conducted with witnesses at my trial. Mr. Gardner explained that California courts frown on petitioners presenting habeas claims in piecemeal fashion. So they waited for the transcripts. And while they were waiting, they learned that producers of a documentary involving Menudo, a boy band formed in Puerto Rico, had approached Mr. Gardner with new information they believed relevant to my case. In November of 2022, I was told a former member of the band had come forward to say that my father had raped him. Exhibit I. Robert Rand's declaration. Robert Rand, declare, I am a journalist. I have covered the Menendez case since it began years ago. Attached as attachment 1 to this declaration is a photograph of live entertainment employees, which that's where Jose Menendez worked for, was live entertainment. The classic one, you have the best advice today. You have the best advice today. So true. And I think that we are watching the demise of the entertainment industry. Sorry. Okay, so he worked for live entertainment. RCA was under live entertainment at that time. Wow. Okay. A photograph of live entertainment employees at a Christmas party held at the Menendez home in Beverly Hills in the winter of 1988. Live Entertainment was the company which Jose Menendez worked at in 88-89. I can authenticate this as a photograph taken at the Beverly Hills Menendez home because I visited the home on a number of occasions to interview members of the family. I recognize the staircase. In my work reporting on the Menendez brothers case, I spoke with numerous employees of live entertainment who were at the party. Damn. One of them provided the photograph attached as attachment 1. I'll explain that this was a Christmas party held in December of 1988. In addition, there is Christmas garland on the banister. Signed, Robert Rand. Attachment 1. Oh, these are the live employees at the Menendez house. These are all the people that worked for Jose. And he interviewed a bunch of them. I can't imagine these interviews with the people that worked for Jose. Like, I wonder who was Jose's right-hand person at work. Well, there'll be a demise of the industry that grapes children. Taylor Swift made it independently. Like, she was YouTube or something, wasn't she? Or on a show or... This is different than these kids being plucked and signed to a music label. A lot of independent artists these days are creating their own label and not having to fall under the guise and under the thumb of people like Jose Menendez and Diddy. Exhibit J. Okay, so my daughter was a Swiftie, and now she's really not so keen on her. She sold her concert ticket because she was lip syncing. So Garagos and Garagos. It's a certificate of service. And that is the whole exhibit. Is that Jose in the middle? Is that him right there? Smiling in the middle. Julie says these boys need to be free. He was probably the kingpin in that ring. Wouldn't surprise me. I think of him like a... Yeah, I mean, people wonder why they didn't tell anyone. Their dad was so powerful. Her dad bought a record label. That always helps. Oh, Beyonce. Well, any of these people that got signed, you got to wonder what they went through to be signed to these labels. Toby Keith signed Swift first. Oh, you never know. You guys don't like her? All right, I've got a couple more videos to show you guys that I thought were important. This one here, we're going to listen to We're going to listen to a clip from the trial. Hold up. Damn it. Hold on. Okay, let me get this up on here. Okay, you guys, this is a trigger warning. But that was Jose in the middle. Diana Ross was Quincy Jones's Ghislaine. Okay, well, sipping on, let's take that a step further. If we're talking about Diana Ross, how about how Diana Ross took little Michael Jackson under hers? Sick entertainment industry. I agree. How about how Diana Ross was always all tight with little Michael Jackson? That was weird. I always thought that was weird. And I think that these entertainers need to stay out of politics. That bothers me too. So this is a trigger warning. This is the boys, the brothers' doctor. Okay. He is going to testify about some injuries that Erik Menendez suffered. And these are oral injuries. Let's take a listen. This is from the 1993 trial of the Menendez brothers.
Of Erik Menendez, sometime in 1977.
Yes.
Okay, and what specifically does the medical record indicate was injured?
The direct quote is hurt posterior pharynx, uvula, and soft palate. Senior emergency room, Princeton Medical Center. Okay. Healing well, symptomatic treatment. Actually was seen the day before. This is the follow-up note.
Okay. Now, is there is the report of injury in that medical record that's before you is 299? Is that consistent with could that be caused by child sexual abuse in your opinion?
Yes, could be.
And what you have any opinion as to what type of child sexual abuse could have resulted in that particular complaint?
Oral copulation.
In examining Erik Menendez in August of 1993, did you notice that he had a scar on his left inner knee?
Yes.
And did that appear to be a wound that had been unsutured, that is, it had gone untreated, unstitched?
Yes.
May I just have a moment, Your Honor? Thank you. I have nothing further at this time.
A examination on behalf of Lyle Menendez.
Were there any physical findings at all on physical inspection, not only of the anal area, but any place else on the body?
There were a few non-specific scars, and there was one scar on the lower lip. It appeared to be a non-sutured scar.
Could that scar on the lower lip have been caused by someone punching someone in the face?
That is what Lyle related to me as the cause of the scar, yes.
And did you also take a medical history from him concerning sexual abuse by his father?
Yes.
Did you also review the testimony that he gave here in this trial concerning the sexual abuse that had been perpetrated on him by his father when he was approximately 6 to 8 years of age?
Yes, I did.
Was the testimony that he gave to the jury consistent with what he told you about the sexual abuse?
Yes.
Is there an inconsistency between the absence of findings of anal trauma and his testimony and his report to you of a history of sexual abuse?
No, there's no inconsistency.
We talk about unsutured. Could you describe what you mean by that?
Well, I misspoke. It was an unsutured scar. It was a scar that appeared never to have been from a laceration that had never been sutured.
Did you, in addition to examining Lyle Menendez, also review his medical records?
Yes.
And did those medical records span a period from approximately March of 1971 to July of 1989?
Yes.
Was there anything remarkable about the medical history in terms of findings that were made by other physicians that you reviewed?
Well, there were a significant number of physician visits.
Right. Let me ask
more. Significant number of records of physician visits, I should say.
Did you see in the medical history certain injuries which had been treated by other physicians?
Yes.
For instance, was there an indication that when Lyle Menendez was 3 years old on March 9, 1971, that he had a injury sutured as a result of a dog biting him in the face?
Yes, I recall that, I believe.
And do you recall in 1974 there was a report of an injury to hematoma to the left side of his face?
Yes.
And in the same year, 1974, when he was 6 years old, a report of an injury of a 1.5 laceration to his right eyebrow?
Yes.
Was there also a history that he had what's called an epigastric hernia when he was 7 years old?
Yes.
What is that?
It's a failure of the muscles of the abdomen to be completely contiguous, so that a small part of bowel comes out between the muscles, essentially.
And did the medical history also include a history in August of 1976 of a speech articulation disorder and below grade level school performance?
Yes.
Did it also include an entry on August 4th, 1978 that he grinds his teeth?
I believe, I don't remember the exact date of the teeth grinding, but I remember the teeth grinding.
And was there also a report in October 28, 1976 of stomach pains?
Yes.
And on March 7, 1977, global headaches?
Yes.
Was there also various reports from 1979 to 1989 of complaints of headaches?
Yes.
Would any doctor looking at that full range of symptoms been alerted to the possibility of sexual abuse just looking at this medical history if it was all presented at once?
Me acuerdo un momento que porque
I think that we have now seen the
Isn't that disgusting?
defense take their best shot. We have the advantage of hindsight. We know exactly where they're going. There are no more surprises.
To the throat was an injury to the throat of Erik Menendez sometime in 1977.
Yes.
Okay, and what specifically does the medical record indicate was injured?
The direct quote is hurt posterior pharynx, uvula, and soft palate. Senior emergency room, Princeton Medical Center.
Can you believe that? Right. Industry doctor. Lovey says coming out of the bushes to say their mom's a POS because she didn't do anything. It's disgusting, y'all. It really is.
Porque mi inglés no estaba muy bueno en aquella época. Y yo tuve un programa de
This is another video I found of Roy Rosello. I'm just going to read it because we can't understand it. But this is from the Menendez and Menudo Boys Betrayed documentary. He says, I remember a moment. My English wasn't very good back then. I was on a television show. And then here is the Merv Griffin show.
Right here. You've been having extraordinary appearances in America, right?
No me acuerdo qué fue lo
I don't remember what he asked me,
que me preguntó, pero yo no supe responder.
but I couldn't answer
Porque también estaba muy emocionado ver toda la multitud.
because I was so excited about the audience.
What do you like best about Hollywood?
Yo no pude hablar.
I didn't know
y no
what to say. I couldn't express myself.
pude expresarme. Eso fue terrible. Cuando llegué al hotel,
It was awful. When we got back to the hotel, he started to hit me. This is about Eguardo. Hey, Miss K, welcome in.
comenzó a pegarme con patadas, con puños.
Kicking me, punching me. This is little Roy Rosello right here on the left. This is Eguardo on the right. I think so too, Pearl.
Me dijo que este cada
He said you made me and the band look bad.
para mí, al grupo, y lo otro, y comenzó a darme. ¿Sabes cómo es Ricardo Díaz?
You know, Eduardo Diaz, he can be explosive.
Una persona que es muy explosiva. Correcto. Me da
He hit me in the face, on the head. This is Eduardo.
en la cara, me daba en la cabeza. Después que él
After he beat me,
me dio, me trancó
he locked me in the bathroom
con el baño y me dijo que
and told me I'd be sleeping naked.
yo iba a dormir desnudo. Tuve que
I had to sleep in the bathroom.
dormir dentro del baño. Comenzaron a hablar. They was talking.
Disgusting, right? These poor boys. I mean, I can't even imagine. And everybody thinks, oh, they've got everything. You know, they've got everything. Well, Kitty Menendez definitely chose to ignore it. Kitty Menendez also drank herself into the oblivion. That's how Kitty Menendez dealt with it. I know, Julie. It's sick. Like, to know that there's 500,000 predators online each day is absolutely terrifying to me. Like, those stats are terrifying. Are you talking about Diana Ross? Yeah, so that's the two key pieces of evidence, you guys, is the letter that Erik wrote to his cousin and Roy Rosello's testimony of what Jose Menendez did to him. So now that you have a clearer picture, I can't believe, you guys, 92% of you say yes, they should be released, and 7% of you say no. That's crazy. I think those boys have spent their time and then some, Pearl. I agree with you. I don't know if that includes the dark web or not, or if that's just straight up internet that we all can access. You know what I mean? But 92% of you, wow. I mean, it's so much deeper. And then if you think about this, like if one Menendez comes out or one Menudo person comes out, could there be more? Like, is this going to spread like a web, kind of like how we expect Diddy's to? And then we have Grady Judd today. busting 157 suspects in a human trafficking sting, one including a Disney employee. Time served, free the Menendez brothers. I agree. We should watch this. Should we do a new stream or just watch it? You saw it, Lovey? He's got a lot of pictures here. Dr. Malmo. I know Dr. Malmo's our own house predator hunter. You took down one today. Charges should have been manslaughter, says I'm shocked. I agree. And I think that's what their point is like, let them out. They've done their time. It was worth watching. I know what is up with it. They all flock where the kids are. Yeah, Stephen Stearns worked at Disney. I know. Right? Do they even need? Oh, that's what I wanted to show you guys was their website. Do they even need the dark web anymore? So yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. Justice for Erik and Lyle. This is justiceforerikandlyle.org. J-Lo, I agree with that 100%. You can sign the petition there. And then it also gives, their story. It goes over the new evidence that we just went over briefly. And then it tells about the hashtag, and there's videos on here, and then there's stats. And I thought these would be important to go over. At least 1 in 6 men has been essayed. 1 in 6. I forgot. Thank you for reminding me about that, Shell, because I wanted to go over this. Those are astounding stats. Essay is widespread and underreported, particularly for boys and men. Research shows that at least 1 in 6 men have experienced SA, whether as children or adults. This number is likely underestimated, as many men never disclose their abuse due to societal stigma, fear, or shame. Studies have shown that men who have experienced SA are at a much greater risk for mental health issues, such as PTSD, depression, substance abuse, and even suicidal thoughts. The trauma can affect their relationships, academic achievement, career success, with many survivors struggling in silence for years. One shocking statistic reveals that more boys experience SA than develop prostate cancer, the most common cancer among men. That's scary. And yet, public awareness of male SA abuse remains woefully low, perpetrating a cycle of misunderstanding and neglect. It's time to break the silence and stand with survivors like Lyle and Erik Menendez, who have endured a lifetime of trauma that was never fully acknowledged in the court of law. And then they have all these resources on here. Taking the first step towards healing can be daunting, but it is important to reach out and ask for help. Healing is possible, and these organizations are here to help you. And then they have all the news links. Menendez brothers Netflix doc reveals Erik's drawings of his abuse, and Lyle saying, "I would much rather lose the murder trial than talk about our past." There's a lot out there on this. Kathy Griffin's cringe jokes. When the brothers were arrested, the media frenzy over the case began. An awkward clip included comedian Kathy Griffin doing a talking head segment on a show saying, "Oh, come on. They're so adorable. They are too fine to go to prison. Ooh, I know they don't exactly have an airtight case. Okay." Lyle went on a little bit of a spending spree the week of the murders. He got a couple of Rolexes and a $70,000 Porsche. But you know what? Sometimes you just have to treat yourself. A juror in the first trial said, "I was already well aware of the details of having read everything in newspapers and magazines, even though they preferred that you did not." Yikes. O.J. Simpson connections. At one point, Lyle mentions that Jose was the head of Hertz Rental Cars and hired Simpson as a spokesperson in their commercials. Later, we're going to do an episode on this. Lyle reconnected with Simpson at the county jail after the latter's arrest for murder, and some considered Simpson's acquittal to start the cultural firestorm that caused the brothers to lose their second trial. We're going to do a episode on that for sure. And then we'll end this episode with a chilling quote from Lyle. Regarding discussing his childhood abuse in court, "I would much rather lose the murder trial than talk about our past and what happened." So this can all be found, like I said, over here on their website, justiceforericandlyle.org. They've got articles on homophobia in the first trial. There's a lot. We can go through this in another episode, but I think I am going to end this because I forgot we've got Sarah Boone's farm in the morning. So I hope you guys will join me for Trial Watch tomorrow. We are going to begin at 9 a.m. with opening statements for the suitcase murder trial down here in Florida. So let me share this link in the chat. I thank you guys all for listening. It was very nice to see people open to, learning more about Menendez and what went on and everything else. Hellcat. Lyle is the best big brother and saved his brother from a life of sexual abuse. When he found out, yes, he acted on it, confronted the mother and everything else. All right, guys. I will see you guys in the morning. We can watch Grady Judd on a break in court tomorrow. That will give us some filler when they take their breaks. So Sarah Boone, 9 a.m. tomorrow, right here, Studio J. I will be live, and I hope to see you guys there. And please share this Menendez news out. Everybody needs to know the truth and be able to put everything together themselves. So until tomorrow, I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you, best mods on the planet. I'll see you guys tomorrow. You'll be portaled to the Boone after this. Dance it out.
I don't give a damn. I don't really care about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. 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 You wanna be with me. You wanna feel something real, but I'm feeling differently. You're making plans to get to friends, but don't wanna face the fact that I ain't got time for that. Staying up late, sleeping all day, dreaming about Cadillacs. Buying new shoes, hanging by the pool, sipping on Coke and Jack. Calling my phone when you feel alone, but I'll never call you back. 'Cause I ain't got time comfort. You say that I'm away so much that now you don't feel the way you felt when we were younger. But that's okay for me, 'cause